Hi, my name is Darek, and in this video I'm going to show you how Microsoft technologies together with AI can solve the problem with onboarding new employees in the companies. Let's see the video. Every time when I start working on the project, I ask myself the question, why does onboarding new employees feel so complicated, so stressful, and so broken? In many companies, onboarding means endless emails, confusing documents, unanswered questions, and a frustrated HR department trying to keep up. It's far from ideal. New hires feel lost, HR feels overwhelmed, IT teams miss deadlines. I knew there had to be a better way, a smarter, faster, more welcoming way to start someone's journey in the company. And that's why I built Onboardy, a smart AI onboarding agent fully integrated with Microsoft Teams, powered by Azure AI, Agent SDK, and Semantic Kernel. And here let's assume that I'm a new employee in the company. I start my onboarding process. This is my day one in the company in Microsoft. Let's create some message to it. So I don't know how to set up my laptop. So at the moment I can ask the question how to set up my laptop. And instantly I've got information how to do it. And here's the document with all the information that I need to set up my Microsoft account. And there is also some bunch of messages how to set up Office 365 plus additional resources like, for example, how to properly set up my Git account on my machine. Yeah, and that's it. So the document was retrieved from our knowledge base. But that's not all of the capabilities of Onboardy. Besides retrieval augmented generation, we can also schedule some meetings, some events in the calendar. So let's see it in action. I ask, what is my schedule for today? On the fly, Onboardy created some agenda. We've got 2 meetings today. One is about overview of a company, and the second one treats about the finance department information. So this is also some links are attached here that I can see. But what else I can do? I can ask the system, because here is the suggestion, would you like me to send you SMS summary? And I can say yes, please do it. Yeah, to do it, Onboardy knows that it needs my phone number, so I can type in my number here. And Onboardy has all the information required to send message. And I just got the message automatically sent to my phone. So never be late on your meetings on onboarding. Another cool feature is sentiment feedback, sentiment analysis, which I can use for HR departments so that they can get the information about how my onboarding process goes and how I feel. For example, I can type in, I feel overwhelmed and sad. Yeah, this is how I can express my feelings here. And first thing, I get the information from the onboardee that he's really sorry and so on, but also this information is stored in Cosmos DB, and then HR department can create some reports and make some additional steps. And another time, another developer, for example, can join the company, and as you can see, Onboardy can generate another schedule for this person, because here we've got the module about the Scrum, the link to the website that user can browse. So not only documents, but also websites. And like before, I can ask it for SMS summary. And Onboardy can not only receive information initiated by the user, but Onboardy can also send proactive messages like here. After waiting some time, I got information. Let's check your knowledge. What are our company values? And this is the question sent by Onboardy. It's related to the documents that I previously received, and this is the plan, because Onboardy can send me some materials, like learning materials like websites or Word or PDF documents, but also it can check my knowledge after that. So Onboardy can check the knowledge during the conversation. But this is the great power that we save all the conversation in the Cosmos DB, because then we can create the reports. We can also adjust the learning path for the user, and we can also assess the specific new joiner needs, additional needs that we can satisfy later on. Okay, after seeing proactive messages from Onboardy, let's switch to the architecture of the system. This is the diagram of our application. Our Onboardy is here. The central part is the web application that is using the Agent SDK from Microsoft and Semantic Kernel, which is the orchestrator for LLM applications. And here, Semantic Kernel, what it does, it creates the schedules, and it also has access to the plugins. So when it makes decisions, it can make a decision to choose some specific tools, like for example, whenever the SMS must be sent, then Twilio SMS API plugin is used. Also, there is a date type plugin so that the agent is aware of the current time, and also scheduling plugin, which is responsible for creating the plan of the meetings, plan of follow-up messages that are going to be sent to the specific user. Everything is planned in scheduling plugin. I will show you in a second. And there is also knowledge plugin, which is an implementation of retrieval augmented generation, aka RAG. And this data is stored in Azure AI Search, where index is refreshing each 5 minutes. What happens every 5 minutes interval? Simply, we take the PDF, Excel files, and document files stored in Azure storage, and all those data are being converted to the vector and saved in a database here. That's why we are using also ADA embedding, which is the LLM model that is responsible for generating embeddings. Also, there is a GPT-4o, and all under the umbrella of Azure AI, Azure OpenAI, which is used also by and consumed by Semantic Kernel to generate the responses for the user. But let's look up here what is also important here. This is an additional component which is called bot service, which was previously used by bot framework SDK. Now agent SDK, as the successor of bot framework, can also be used, and the bot service is also very, very important because it communicates to our application, and it can also allow developers to distribute the application among multiple platforms. First of them is web application, and there is also Microsoft Teams. If we create bot service once, we can share this application among multiple platforms without writing any new line of code. Let's get to the code. Here we've got our main agent, which has the name, and it also has some prompt with some rules predefined and some personality, our friendly Microsoft assistant, but also we need additional information sometimes. For example, we need phone number, we need department, and this is the place where agent can retrieve it from the users. And also you can see that there is semantic kernel used, there is a storage, which is a Cosmos DB in our case, even though by default the data is stored in a memory, but we decided to put it into Cosmos DB because, for example, when we scale up the application, the conversation can be then easily retrieved and continued by another node that different than the one that started the conversation. So to continue the conversation, this is crucial to store it in the Cosmos DB. And here we've got also the plugins, very important thing. Plugin, date plugin, onboarding schedule plugin, SMS plugin, but knowledge plugin as well is very important here. I will quickly show you maybe onboarding schedule plugin, because this is interesting. This is the source of our data about the meetings and about the follow-up questions that needs to be sent to the user. For example, we can see that introduction to the company meeting organized by HR department starts at 9 o'clock. It lasts 30 minutes. But what is important, here are some resources. And this is very important thing. Welcome to the company. You see, this is the text of the message. There is also a link to article that user can read. And this is the time when it should be sent. So then we send this message proactively to the user, which is something pretty amazing because now the systems can initiate the conversation with the users. And here is another message, and here's another. So we've got the series of the messages predefined that needs to be sent and delivered to the user. And we specified when and what should be sent to the user. The same here. We've got another bunch of follow-up question after Scrum Basics meeting started. So user will be informed when this meeting is started, but also will be informed about those questions. Follow-up questions will be also part of this feedback loop, of this process of learning. And the process of learning, feedback, and experience of the user is critical, is very important. That's why all those messages are here, and the answers from the user are stored in the database, so we can assess how user understand the materials. Yeah, so this is a great not only delivering information tool, but also teaching tool, where we can store users' feedback, user messages in the database, and make informed decisions based on the data. So that's not everything, because we also have Azure function here. The function is designed to send the information, the push notifications to the user. Here we retrieve information from our Cosmos DB. The planned meetings or planned follow-up questions are retrieved directly from here. So here you can see the follow-up question is being retrieved, and after that the notification will be sent to specified user. So only one user will receive this information, only the user that started the conversation, that where we created the schedule, and this notification will be pushed back to the bot service application. Then the user will be presented with that data as per schedule. Let's jump into Microsoft Azure and see what we've got in our resource group, where are all the resources that were used to create this application. And let's go one by one what is important here. First one is Azure AI Foundry, where you can see that I created two models. First of them being GPT-4o, which is leading the conversation, and second one, text embedding ADA model, which is critical from the perspective of Azure AI Search, because Azure AI Search requires us to create this model. It is needed to also semantic search information in Azure AI Search database. Yeah, another resource is index. Here in Azure AI Search, we've got a one vector database with index, and inside of this index we've got all the information. Yeah, and here in this vector index we have 23 documents which were retrieved from the storage account. And for example, I can ask the question here, who created Scrum? I'm aware that in the storage account I have Scrum guide stored. That's why this information should be here. Yeah, and there are the fragments, like chunks of the documents here that I can just browse, and here we can see the vector, the embedding is here. Yeah, let's get to another element of our infrastructure, which is a Azure bot, which has a specific configuration. It sends the data to the web application, which is deployed here also in the cloud. There are some additional Microsoft App ID, App Tenant ID, and the information that simply allows me to connect to this bot, between my application, between bot and also between Microsoft Teams if we decide to publish the application to developer portal. Yeah, that's everything that we need to know. The configuration is simple as that. Another very interesting resource is Azure Cosmos DB, where we store all the conversation history and the user state. Everything is stored here. Let's see what we've got here. We've got the collection, storage, and here we've got some meetings saved. For example, here you can see that there are follow-up questions, 12.3, 12.5, 12.6. At that times, the messages will be sent to the user. Everything is stored here in a structured way, so we know what are the meetings, what are the follow-up questions. We can also store additionally reference to the conversation, which is exactly here. We've got all the information about the user, about the service URL and the username and so on. Also, we've got the entire conversation stored here. For example, you can see how many output tokens, how many input tokens were used to satisfy the need for retrieving information from LLM. Additionally, we've got web application to store our chatbot, but also we've got some storage account and Azure functions, including also application inside here. So that's it. With Onboardy, team lead engagement time is reduced to 0. All the learning materials are sent to the new joiner by Onboardy. Onboardy also monitors the progress every new employee has and stores it in a database so we can prepare reports and make data-driven decisions. So under the hood, Onboardy leverages the full Microsoft AI stack, which is important. To sum up, Onboardy doesn't just answer the questions. It welcomes you, empowers, and analyzes your skills, analyzes your mood, accelerates every new hire from day one. Built entirely on Microsoft AI technologies, it's scalable, secure, and deeply impactful, and can be deployed also to Microsoft teams within the organization. With Onboardy, onboarding isn't another boring task. It's a brand new experience.